Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Lewis the Tech Guy. And we're going to continue learning about Dart. So last time we talked about numbers. Last time we talked about strings. This time we're going to talk about numbers. And in Dart, you have two types of numbers. You have integers and you have doubles. Integers are whole numbers, and doubles are decimal numbers. So let's see that in action. So we're going to create some variables. First, we're going to create our int, and we're going to call it num1, and we're going to give it a value of, let's say, 5. And we're going to call our handy dandy print function, type out num1 and put a semicolon at the end of it. We're going to run that, and our console seems to be confused, and we get 5. All right, so let's try that again. We're going to do another int. We're going to do num2, and this time we're going to give it the value of 10. And now we're going to come down here and we're going to say print num2, and now we run it, and we get 5 and 10. 5 for num1, which is right here, and 10 for num2, which is right there. But let's say we wanted something more precise. Let's say instead of 5, we wanted 5.5. So if I were to add a decimal to this and put 5 right here and run it, I should get this error because it's not a double. Can't be assigned a variable type int, and it shows me right here that's your problem. So what I need is a different type, and this type is a double. So I'm going to do num3 equals 5.5. And now if I come to print down here and I print num3, got lost there for a second, and I do run, now we should get rid of all my errors and give me 5.5. All right, so that's int and double. Now if you wanted to say print num1 plus num2, and then put a semicolon and then that, and run, it will add your 5, and there you go. Now what separates Dart from other languages is that in other languages you cannot add a double to an int without doing a lot of work. So first you would have to do something to the extent of num1.to double. So you would have to convert it like that to a double before you can add it. But Dart is really smart, and in some cases you'll still have to do that. But Dart is really smart in that you can do num1 plus num3, and it will recognize that they're both numbers, and it will add the two numbers. So that's a really good advantage of having Dart, and it will return a num. What it won't do though is, let's say you try to create a num4. So I'm going to create a variable called num4, and I know we haven't talked about this keyword yet, but essentially what this is when you need to create a variable but you haven't instantiated it. So in this case you know you want an int, in this case you know you want a double, and in this case you don't know what it is yet. So var is just any type of container, if you will. So what you can't, so if you wanted to, you can give the value of num1 plus num2 and create num4, and there's no problem with that. What you can't do is assign this a int value, and that'll give you an error. But if you assign it a double value, it should be fine. Okay, so what you can't do is you can't assign it to an int, because the value is 10.5 and it doesn't know what to do with the 0.5. All right, so this would have to either be a var or a double. Okay. The other cool thing you could do is you could take, let's say for example, a string, and you can parse the string. So you could do num parse, and let's say, and of course this will come later on in use, and let's say you had the word 12. So let's say we created so let's just to finish this out, we'll put this here, run, and then this should give us the value of 12. So let's say you had earlier we were practicing with strings, and we're going to say number string, and we're going to say this one is the value of, let's say 15, right? So now down here, I can enter my number string, and it should parse it out so that down here it should say 15 now. There you go. And there's a lot of cool things you could do with numbers, but I'm going to keep it short for now. This will be today's video about numbers. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe.